Alright, so I'm about a month and a half late to do the holiday gift guide for 2015, and I didn't do one last year. Did I do one the year before? I think I've only done one so far. And that one I talked about, like, how you choose gifts. Dude, get cool stuff that people actually use. And if it's not going to be something sentimental that they'll keep forever, a la the original Kenner Slave one that my dad painted right before he deployed in like 95, I want to say, then do something that's utilitarian. So here's a mountain of stuff. I scoured through like every purchasing thing I've had in the last couple years, and what you're seeing is basically all of my disposable income for the last 2.5 years or so, ever since my last one. And that one I did leave out a couple, and since then I've added a couple more things. Some of the stuff that you will see is borrowed, like I don't own these Bark Rivers, but they're so damn cool. I just gotta throw them in there. They're so awesome. Other stuff, let me see. It's kind of hard to think of where I'm starting with this. I did write out a couple of the prices so I can remember it. Number one on my list, let's just go from like front up right here. You'll see this little module, and I have it kind of strung under there. That is a Whistler CR85 radar detector. It is pretty good. I wouldn't pay the 120 or so that they want online for them. I think I paid about like 80. It was a used model. I think it just had like a beat up box. Works pretty well. It's loud enough. It has a little LED indicator to like kind of light up, which I do prefer, especially if you're on a bike. It's cheap enough that I, like, you know, I'll affix it to my bike, and when I walk away I don't necessarily always have to crank it off. It's not like a $500 Escort that, you know, all it takes is some guy just snipping something, walking away with it, and then you have to rebuy it. Under that you'll actually see a dash cam. I think it's an A118. It kind of sucks ass. I don't particularly like it. I got it about 2 years ago. It was 50 bucks on Amazon. I'll give you the link. I don't totally recommend it. It's got a very confusing UI, and it's just kind of shitty. And I think the technology's come a long way. I would recommend, no matter what, whatever you're driving, get a dash cam. It can save you from a lot of legal stuff. We've wanted them forever, and now we live in this wonderful future time when you can get all this cool stuff. I will say there's a very cool market of kind of overseas electronics that we don't necessarily see here. Like when I was, you know, running around in all these different countries, I used to have a sweet-ass phone that was like a long rectangular screen, a little number pad, and it had an FM radio with an extendable antenna and a TV receiver, and it had like this sweet voice modulator that you could turn on, which I always thought was interesting. Like, that stuff's built in some places. Like, they plan on you kidnapping people. It was really fun. It had like the deep, like you kind of sound like Jabba the Hutt. That was kind of cool. Let me see. Okay, so radar detector, that one. This thing right here, I already mentioned it. It's the Slave 1. I think I showed it my last one, but it is so cool. This is something that my dad actually did for me when I was really, really young. A lot of my childhood years was spent, you know, when he wasn't deployed. We would go out and we would look for the old Kenner figures, and this was like 94, 95 before they made the resurgence. So we had a lot of time. We'd just run around, you know, you're just driving around. We used to drive in his GTI. And so, you know, it was dropped. It was a sweet little thing. But we would, you know, it was just fun. It was those awesome times that you always remember hunting for something. It wasn't necessarily about getting, like, the freaking Yak Face or the EV9 figure. It didn't matter. It mattered that I was hanging out with my dad. And I don't know, this is one of my favorite things from the time because he had bought the, you know, beat-up old Kenner thing from some shop. You know, it came out of some dude's basement. And he actually did all this weathering, all this paneling. It's got, like, little blast marks in there. Check that out. It's just so cool. I love just so much of the way he did it was so perfect. It's one of those things that I still keep around, and I am kind of sad because I opened it on, I think it was like Christmas Eve or something, and he was overseas on the phone while he did it. He said, hey, he can open any present he wants, and then I'll be on the line. And I picked this one, and he wanted to see it in person. It's still one of the coolest things I have. If you're using lights, which I'm going to go over in a bit, you're probably going to need a charger. It doesn't really matter, dude. It's a charger. This one I do like. It's a night core. It's like 20 bucks. It charges all the CR123s, the 18650s. It has a sweet little LCD screen right there, and it'll show you the charging. I like LCD screens, man. There's too much stuff around that's just like a little obscure light that you have to deal with. Like this pointless thing. This is a Spider Arctic. I didn't actually buy this. We originally got it for doing like lasing targets at long range, so we could kind of pick them out if we were shooting with people. It's just too much of a hassle. At that distance, in order to get a good steady thing, you have to mount it. So we have like the mount. You'd have it on a tripod, and then you need like some magnification and walk it on. It's a lot of work, and it has this, I'll admit it's kind of cool because it locks idiots out. You have to press the tail cap and then hit this button a couple times as these little LEDs come on. So it's like tap, tap, tap. medium long press, medium. It takes like once or twice before you really get into the habit of it. Then it turns on. This one's a blue one. We may actually throw it up on the web store. He told me a while back. I'm still trying to find a use for it. I just don't know what to do with it. Laser pointers used to be really cool. I just don't know. So if you have ideas, let me know. Maybe not. Yeah, that's one of the misses in this thing. If you're looking for something that someone actually uses, look at whatever tool they're using and get them the upgraded one of it. This is actually what I got my dad for this Christmas, because he uses his Dremel all the time, and it is so loud. It's that like, and you can hear it everywhere you go. So I did a little bit of research. This is a Proxen rotary tool. It seems pretty cool. I powered it up. It doesn't seem like it goes as fast RPM-wise, but it is a lot quieter. That runs you about 120 bucks. I won't know more till we actually put it to use. But that kind of thing, you know, it's something we can give him, and then he uses that for a long time. And it ends up paying dividends, because the more you get out of a gift, the better it is in the long run. You know, you want people to have stuff that they keep forever. That's part of why I hate doing all my family Christmas stuff, because you get like some random shower radio or piece of shit that you just don't keep. It's gone in like 6 months. You forget all about it. So if I give something to someone, I either want it to be sentimental and really cool, or very utilitarian and useful. So a lot of the stuff, I mean, battery chargers, really? Really? It's like 20 bucks for that, and then 20 for a couple of the batteries that you'd use in CR123s. I recommend rechargeables. CR is kind of a toss-up. A lot of people use AA's. I used to be a AA guy, but the CRs do tend to have better battery life in my experience, so I've kind of moved towards those. Lights, man. Lights have a lot of different options, a lot of cool stuff out there. I'll say probably my front runner this year has been this one. I think it's the Maelstrom. Yeah, Maelstrom Regen. This is the 4.7s one. What really does it for this one is it has a micro USB port you can charge stuff from, so you don't necessarily have to get a charger, plug stuff in, and start charging it overnight. Saves you a step. You know, if you have your little space station like I do, you have all your different chargers, so when you go to sleep, you can just plug everything in at once. It's like in one console that you use. Pretty cool. Always ready to go. It doesn't have a clip. I always do like having clips because they stay in place easier, but it's got good light output. I'm not much of a light guy, so, you know, whatever works. In the wintertime, I tend to use bigger lights like these. This is a 4.7 Quark AA. I don't really have the most up-to-date stuff of any of this. This is just my hand-me-downs from my dad. I like this one, and it's a good size. It's got like that good flashlight size, you know, it really fits in the hand, and it's an extension to your body. I don't know what that means, but everyone says it. You use that, I mean, it's nice. It gets dark pretty early here, so you're using lights more often, so I'll splurge and carry a bigger one. In the summer, I'll use something like this. It's a little Quark Mini 123. Just use a little CR123 battery. That's where your chargers come in, because then you get them one of these and a pack of those. I mean, honestly, most of the people I know of that I'd be like, hey, here's a light, they'll probably forget that it's rechargeable, leave it in a desk, and throw it away in 10 years, so who knows. Make sure they know. If not, I would just err towards giving them AA's, something that's more in the ecosystem, and they don't have to worry about as much. But the light output on this is pretty awesome. It's a great size, like if you're in the summertime, or I guess if you just want this in the winter. It fits in your mouth if you're just walking around like, hey, I gotta go out to the shed and grab something. Then you hear like a burrowing crab in the corner, and you just go, oh, yeah, grab your stuff. Really cool. It works just perfect. And it fits into your little change pocket along with your cadet. So you go, bing, look at that. It fits perfect. As long as we're talking about change pockets, I'm actually, and you can't really tell, I'm wearing some of those new knit jeans, I think they're called. It's like flex denim or something. Pretty cozy. It's like blending pajamas with a pair of really well broken in jeans. I've always been a jeans person, kind of even a sleep in sometimes, just because I just don't. Whenever I throw on sweatpants, I feel like I've given up, you know? I just don't like that. I especially like a couple of these ones I show here, and they're not all up to date. Keep in mind, these are things that I actually use, so it's not like I'm getting out the new off-the-shelf stuff. I don't own it, and I can't really steal it from the project anyways. Here's a 4.7's Quark. This is a little mini one. Pretty cute, kind of useful. This is good for like a summer light, because you can throw it in a change pocket along with your cadet and just keep walking around, and it doesn't really bother you too much. Come winter, I usually use one of these bigger ones. My favorite so far has still been the Quark AA. This is the old tactical model, I think. I mean, it uses AA's, get rechargeables. You should just have rechargeable of everything at this point, because they're a lot cheaper, more reliable than they used to be. I get a lot of mileage out of this one. It's big enough that it's comfortable. It is big, but it has a clip. I don't mind it. It just goes in my back left pocket most of the time. So this one is something I left out, I'm pretty sure. This is an old model Fenix PD 32. It's now up to the PD 35, and I'm going to link you to a pretty cool package that's 99 bucks or so, and it includes a charger, 18650 battery, CR123 batteries, the light, and then a holster. I don't care much about light holsters. I never use them, but it's a cool option to have. I mean, it saves you like 20 bucks off the normal stuff. It's you know, it's normally an $80 light, so it's a pretty good option. Outside of that, if they're walking around with their laptop a lot, I actually would even recommend giving them a laptop charger, even if they already have one. It's always nice having a spare that you can just leave in a backpack or in your go bag, so whenever they're out and about, they can just plug it in, not worry about it. It kind of sucks when you only have the one. I know, super first world problem. You just plug it in. Oh, now I need to unwind my charger and take it with me. If you get two, you know, like I bought a MacBook One for my mom. It was like $15 or something, but it's been working just fine. Another favorite this year has been one of these. These are cheaper than ever. It's a little Bluetooth headset that you can use. Not so much for talking to people, but if you get it in a color that matches a skin tone pretty well, then you can wear it in more places than you can headphones. Like if I walk around just with some earbuds in, then I look like kind of a tool, like a 14-year-old tool. If I walk around with a big Jabra style, like odd sex toy shaped thing in my ear, then I'm still like an adult tool. So somewhere in between there, if I wear this, I mean, I may look weird. I may look like a Secret Service guy or like I have some kind of necessity for it, but in reality I'm just listening to like podcasts or something. It's kind of nice, especially if you're in like a really, if you're in a boring class and you don't want to just sit there and have the single stimulus of listening to how many breaths your professor takes in between every other sentence, like I had a guy who did that all the time. It was chemistry, and it was horribly painful. He did that Goodnight Moon thing where he would just look at the projector and read you the PowerPoint, like all the 20-year-old people in the room couldn't read. It's horrible. If you're a teacher and you do that, don't do that. USB extension cables are in the same vein. You can plug them into anything and just add some more length. You know, when you're like walking by and you see someone desperately charging their phone in the wall and they're like 3 feet away from it, like, and they can't move any further. Dude, get an extension cable. Just leave it in your little bag. Another thing that you can get, like a 2-pack for $8. If you have one of your like tablet, phone ecosystems going and you're running out of space, these are actually kind of a cute little solution to it. It's a RAV Power portable battery / hard drive / SD card reader. Remember that funky like overseas technology that we don't get too much of here? This is one of those things. If you're on the Apple ecosystem, which I am, and sometimes I like that, sometimes I hate it, it sucks ass that you don't have an SD card reader in it. This kind of gets you by it. The software to read the stuff and the media in there is not great. I wish it would just integrate into your stuff, so like you could go into your music and play whatever music's off here, go into your movies, and instead you're dicking around with a totally different UI, and it's below the quality of that. It's like kind of an average quality Android app. Zippo hand warmer, these are about $15. I think they come in orange too. When they work, they work. When they don't, they suck total ass. This one is kind of intermittent. It depends on if you, I think, break it in right and if you do the right filling technique and all that. When it works, it's really cool. In fact, I wish I had it on now because I'm out in my garage. Last time I checked, it was $34, which is not great. So Zippo hand warmer, I did get this for my mom, and like everything else that I get her in order to keep her warm, she prefers not to use it and bitch about being cold instead. So that's great. Let me see. Stopwatch, you can get these for pretty cheap. This is a Precista. I got this from the UK from a retired army dude. It says Geneng E7 6/49/4. I actually needed a stopwatch for work, and I got sick of using like the gym teacher thing. I just didn't like that so much. So I was like, if I gotta look at something and watch 5 minutes go by, might as well make it fun. So that's kind of cool. Has a good little quick movement. It's been totally accurate so far, really cool. I think it's an old UK military issue. I'm pretty sure the guy was like an artillery dude or something like that, and it's from the 70s. $15, man, you can't really go wrong. Looking for like the cheap stuff. A lot of this that you see on the table, maybe not necessarily these, I did buy used. I prefer to buy used for a lot of stuff, especially the leather, because then it comes pre-broken in as long as the person didn't stink and didn't smoke. What else? Utilitarian-wise, RAM mounts are pretty much it. This I actually installed on the dash in my car. I'm not much of a phone user to begin with, but it is nice when you're running directions, and I don't like having to like look down and look up. It would be cool. I mean, Nothing Fancy uses the suction cup on the windshield method. Again, horrendous. I can't stand it. I've said it before in videos when we're using it. It's a nightmare because it comes off pretty easy. It doesn't really match the curvature of the windshield. So you'll just be driving around, you have your phone set up, and then it just goes ka-dunk and takes a jump down into the dash, and then you're looking for it. Huge pain in the ass. In this one, I just drilled it right into the console above my manual. So it's about there, almost eye level. Really cool. This setup I think is $20. The arms are about 10. I also use these on my bikes. This is the X-Arm cradle for a cell phone holder. Really cool. Here's one that I'm still kind of on the fence about. I may not totally love it yet. This is one of those Philips light alarm clocks. They had like a Black Friday deal. I'd always heard about it, and with my job situation lately, I've been having to wake up really early, and I normally hate that. It, in theory, wakes you up just by gradually turning on the brightness. So it starts out as like a deep red, It does like a simulated sunrise. It's easier on you when you wake up. I will say when you wake up, it is definitely easier on you. You can sleep through it though. It does have like a backup alarm thing. So I'm still in the period where I'm evaluating it. I still might end up sending it back. The days when I do wake up on time though, freaking awesome. It's really nice because you get a more gradual thing in it. So that part of it works. I just don't know if I'm always going to be able to wake up to the light alone because I've slept to it the last 3 days. If you're looking at someone's stuff and you notice them using like some piece of equipment that's not that great, you can get them I guess I wasn't even hiding it from you. This is an Andis Trimmer. I'm sure I've shown this before. It's super awesome. It's like made in the US. It's great for face hair and stuff. Really cool. There's an optional clipper guide for it. I think I recommended it before. It's like $6, but then you can do like all kinds of weird things. You can tell, and I don't really shave too much just because it's more comfortable this way and not really have to. I have the villain face hair pattern, which is kind of cool. This whole thing. This is like how evil wizards look. So that's kind of cool. Talking about utilitarian stuff. These are Vidal Sassoon combs, which I do not use for my hair. I use them to scratch my ass. Really nice. They have good sharp teeth. If you're looking for good ass scratching combs, you want it to come to like a really good point. You don't want those rounded cheesy ones. Those don't do anything. This will satisfy a good ass scratch. It's $1.75 for a pack of 2 or something like that. Awesome. Sweet deal. This is a Carl Office Products pencil sharpener. I know you're going to say it doesn't really matter if you have anyone in your family or in your friend circle that's like into design, drawing, art, anything where they might conceivably use a pencil. This is my favorite sharpener I've ever used. At school I happen to use a bunch of people's, and it's just awesome. You like put it in here and then it automatically winds up. I may have talked about this last time, but it's so cool. And every time I give it to someone, you notice it. At first they're like, oh yay, pencil sharpener. Come back a month later and then you'll see it like right on their desk and a bunch of freshly sharpened pencils there. And you see them actually doing more work with that because it's not as painful. Doing the little like tiny, what is it? It's like it always says it's magnesium. It never feels like that. That little German one. And you're like always doing that and you go twist, 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 kind of sharp. Oh, get a little too greedy. Quarter twist, the lead breaks off and you have to start all over. That sucks. Don't really have that with this. Comes to a great profile. So if you're one of those types of people, rejoice because it's a great pencil sharpener. Squirt bottles. I like these. You can get them for dirt cheap. I got this at Target a while back. Fill it with like 91% rubbing alcohol. Makes a pretty good lens cleaner when you're on the road. I like having one of these in my like working bag. That way I have something to clean off glasses and optics and all that stuff. Another thing that you don't really think of till you're on the road and then you're like, oh, I have a big ass thumbprint on my sunglasses. Done. Oh, it's nice. I like having clean hands and clean glasses. I don't know. I always think it's cheesy when you see someone like talking to you and they have just like tons of grease on their lenses and they don't notice that. I don't know. That's weird. So, if I'm thinking about this, a battery charger with some AA's, 9 volts maybe if they're running the headphone amplifier that I recommended last time, just still kicking, totally awesome. So yeah, AA's, 9 volts, AA's, and then lighting ones, laptop charger, USB extension cables, zip ties for Velcro stuff, and fresh socks. Like if I got that set, I'd be pretty happy because I know I'm putting that to use. I still think one of the coolest things of all time is just giving people a year's supply of socks because that would be awesome. Fresh socks are so cozy. Maybe I've just worn them too much in my life because as a kid I always had to wear them through till they had holes. So you're just wearing those really like dead socks. It's just not enjoyable. All right, now that we got the boring stuff out of the way, let's talk about the super awesome stuff. Let's jump with multi-tools first. One of the SOG power assists that they have now, they're pretty cool, and I'll tell you, I don't particularly love them in comparison to some of the other stuff, but if you're giving a gift to the uninitiated, they'll generally associate weight with quality. I know if you're in like the industry or the hobby of cool stuff, you're gonna go, dude, it's such a heavy multi-tool, and it is, it's not super light. But to someone who doesn't really use multi-tools, for someone who isn't sitting there, like Googling the differences between 3 different versions of the same tool, they're going to think that it's heftier, therefore it's better. It's not essentially correct, but it does come with a pretty kick-ass leather case. So if you give them this ensemble, it'll be about $60. Pretty cool. This one, and I literally, just before this, was trying to cut tape with the scissors on them, and they did a horrible job. Not really my favorite, but the presentation is great, and I always love leather stuff. So, pretty cool. If I'm giving that to somebody, they'll probably love it, and they can throw it in their bag and use it forever. Odds are they'll probably never understand what half the tools are, and I think it does have like a bit where you can put in little hex bits. Super cool. While we're talking about hex bits, let's check out these ones. This is stuff that I started using when I was mountain biking, and it's become a lot more useful than I ever really planned. My favorite one is the Crank Brothers M19. If you look, it has a bunch of these different Allen heads on it. It has just a couple, 2 Torx ones and 2 Phillips and 1 flat. it's really useful. As far as mountain bike tools go, it's kind of heavy. It's, I'm sure, just like cheesy things of aluminum and a bunch of steel or something. Not super light, but very useful, and even outside of biking. Contrast that with the one I got before it, where I was like, oh dude, it's a specialized EMT. Oh, awesome. Much less useful. It has kind of an eclectic set of stuff. The screwdriver blade on it's pretty kick-ass. Aside from that, I don't totally love it. It has like the little reversible thing. It's got 8, 6, 5 millimeter, and then one torch thing. If you're riding on a specialized bike, it does work better because then you know most of it's to that size. But I'd rather have a bigger breadth of stuff that I can use on a bunch of different things. The Crank Brothers tool runs about 30 bucks. It's not super cheap, not super expensive. You can get it in like a gold one. I want to say that's even cheaper. It's really good. It works for a lot of different stuff. I'm pretty sure this is from Cutleryshoppe special editions thing. The orange Victorinox Farmer, super cool. The price on it is, as long as we're talking about really cool anodizing jobs, check this one out. This is a Victorinox Farmer. I'm pretty sure you can only get it on Cutleryshoppe's site. Really cool. And check up on his special page because he has a lot of cool stuff through there. I want to say he has like an orange paramilitary that's been tempting me. It's got some pretty sweet steel on it. Really cool. I love all his stuff. That's probably my favorite Victorinox one right there. It has the saw blade, which, having actually had to cut a hole for a doorknob in a shitty door, it works. It's going to take you a while. Again, another fantastic ass scratcher. Saying. You can also get them a Victorinox Cadet. They run you about 30 bucks, I want to say. Yeah, around there. Yeah, 30 bucks, different colors. You can get them in like green, blue, all those. This is probably one of my favorite multi-tools to give away. It's not super cheap. It's not super expensive. You're kind of in that thing. For me, like a $20 gift is what I give to people that I work with that I don't mind, like work friends. And, you know, like family I don't particularly like. I'll put them in the $20 category or nothing at all. I'm really trying to skip the family Christmas stuff this year. I think it's a good one. It's small enough. It's not super threatening, so you can give it to people that aren't really technical, that aren't really the self-defense crowd, and they'll be able to use it. And the friendlier color you get it, the better, because then it could just sit in a handbag or something. They use it forever. Yeah, Cadet's great. The Victorinox one-handed Trekker, this is the German Army version. Really cool. I think they're about $40. Pretty comfy. This one's got like the oddly serrated in the front, you know, plain edge in the back thing. You don't see that too often. Normally it's the reverse. This is a good one. I like the Victorinox can openers the most. Anytime you get this can opener, I'm a happy camper. In fact, this is what I use even at home when I'm opening like canned peas and tuna and stuff. Best one ever right there. Not the garbage American one that's like the pull back. If you love that one, it works for you, rock on, dude. For me, it doesn't at all. So totally loathe it with everything. Another one, I think the Leatherman side, no, it's the Wingman. Yeah, this is a Wingman. I think the Sidekick is a newer one too. Sidekick works too. You can get them for pretty cheap. Whenever, like I'm throwing you Amazon links for these, check their like used warehouse deals section. That's where I get a lot of the stuff. Like I think that's where I got the radar detector from. You can usually get it at a pretty good discount as long as the packaging's open. Usually someone checked it out and they're like, oh, I don't want it anymore, send it back. This is pretty cool. It has a little clip on it, which is nice. And it's not super, you know, wallet busting, kind of cool. I like that to give to people. That's what I gave to a coworker this year, and that was pretty cool. Okay, I've done that. Here is a fun little thing, and I debated showing it to you because it is kind of like a Chinese rip-off counterfeit thing. But as far as I know, Benchmade's never really done a comb and balisong form before, so don't really know what to tell you there. This is a comb like a butterfly knife, and it's super cold, so I'm not dexterous at all. Dirt cheap. It was like $3.60. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're against the Chinese imitations of stuff, they have like a little Benchmade butterfly stamped into it. It doesn't really say so in the listing. It just says it's a comb. And as a comb, it is very bad. As an ass scratcher, even worse, because they don't really cut these down. So these are just squares of the same gauge of thickness as this thing. Not really great, but it's a fun tool. If you're like practicing or you want to get better, or you just want something to kind of play with as you're sitting at your desk, that's kind of cool. And then you can always like flip it out and comb your hair real suave-like and then go, yeah, and then throw it back in your pocket. Really cool. Super greaser. All right, let's see about knives here. I have a bunch out that are pretty cool. Let me start with this one. This is MT Knives. I think it's a custom knife maker in Montana. This is about $150, $180. I think it's their Genesis neck knife. It reminds me a lot of the CRKT Kiss I had as a kid. And I gotta say, this did come to the P.O. box. I think a TMPer brought it for us. He just liked it enough. I'm normally not much of a net guy person because I don't wear like button-up shirts too often when I'm outside of work, so I don't have too much use for it, but it reminds me so much of that old CRKT I had every day of my life from the years from age 7 to about 10 or 12. It was my favorite, man. It was that, you know, that it's the original Kiss. It just sucked. It had like the single bevel on the blade, partially serrated, really tough to take care of and keep an edge on, but I loved it. You know, it was mine. Really cool, man. Really light. It's a great little finish on this. I'm pretty sure it's Cerakoted too. It's really cool. And right now, as long as you're watching this before 2016, he does have a sale on there. So if you're getting a neck knife, that's probably my favorite one. We've seen a bunch of them. And so, yeah, thanks for that. I'm trying to find out who did it so I can give them like a little thanks package. And this isn't asking you to send any stuff. Don't send stuff. It makes us feel bad and guilty because we don't really like freeloading off you. If you're into watches, the one I'm wearing right now, this is a Marathon H2, I want to say, Marathon, whatever the normal one is, the mil-spec one. This was my dad's in pilot training in like 1992, so I've been wearing it forever. The tritium is totally dead in it. Hand wind, it's got a good little movement. I don't really like the single tick things. I like high beat, you know, where it's like tick, 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 super fast. Faster the better. Really cool. It's pretty small by today's watch standards, so it may look just a little weird to some people. They may say, ooh, that's a lady's knife. I guess, whatever, I'm sticking with it. I mean, it's cool. It is kind of small. It fits under like sleeves easier if you're doing stuff, especially if you're wearing gloves. Pretty awesome. I like the type on it. It's cool. You know, it's classic. If you're into the G-Shock thing, if you start looking at some of the Casios, this is the one I got because I had a bunch of, you know, vids where I was wearing just normal analog stuff, and I was like, I gotta get one I can beat on. And I was looking at it, and you know, everyone that loves guns pretty much has the Casio Rangeman and Olive Drab. That's like the watch. That's the one you have, or you have one of the 511s or something like that. I mean, I like this one. I think they make it for skaters. It's just such a garish and ugly color pattern. I just got it for those times when I want a beater watch that I don't feel bad about, and it's just kind of a parody of what all the other colors are. I don't know. They have some pretty cool ones. They have like blues, yellows, oranges. I want to say this one was about 60, 70 bucks. This was used. So I don't know, some college kid bought it and then left it there. Okay, did that. Again, I mean, a lot of the stuff was not super crazy, but it's useful. Let's talk about mace. I want my child to be in that. Also, like for just other people, family members and stuff, I think most people can handle this pretty well. And, you know, make sure they're mature enough to know it's deployment, not like a hair trigger. This person talked to me, I'm going to mace them. You know, maybe give them a little booklet on the laws and legality of it and know that it's assault if they do use it on someone. I don't know, just spitballing here, but I like giving this. I've given this to a lot of different girlfriends. I like this size too. A lot of times you get like the giant bear mace can. Not too great because then it stays at home or it's stuck in a purse. I think the worst thing you can do when you're giving it to a girlfriend is give her something that can't be in a pocket. You give her something that stays in her purse, because then when she needs it, she's going to have to sit there and go, oh, just a second, and do that like digging around thing for 15 minutes. Not going to work too well. You want something that's really accessible. The Open L, everyone loves. Nut and Fancy totally loves it, and I do not like it at all. I find it boring and kind of staid, but whatever. It does have a really great blade out of the box. At least I liked the last two that I've handled, and supposedly they were new. It's a classic, it's all that stuff. I just don't like thick knives. I don't like them without clips, and I just don't like boring ones. I mean, I kind of like the cool stuff. So but these are pretty cheap. I think you can get them for like 10 bucks. The locking mechanism, it's deceptively simple and effective. I would say if I were making like a present for someone, I may throw this into the utility package, and I might even like go to work with a rotary tool and kind of burn away some of this and kind of customize it a bit. I have been curious if you could do one that, you know, fits your hand a little bit better. I don't know. Again, just spitballing. Maybe you'd love it, maybe you'd hate it. If you're talking about really high-test, super expensive stuff, dude, Bark River knives are kind of one of my favorites. I still don't have one. They're awesome. This one is the... I'm cheating because I wrote it on the back. The North Star. It's the Bark River North Star. It's about $160. I mean, the fit and finish on these is superb. It's so nice. The blade itself, the way it's just honed, it's awesome. It's just a steady curve going down to the tip. Every single one that I've grabbed, because Nut and Fancy got a couple of them, and we've been, like, you know, reviewing them, then selling them off. Every one I see, I'm sad to see it go, but we just don't use them enough that we can, you know, have a bunch of these. If you're, I don't know, like one of the members of a pretty big family and you're looking for something for the grandkids or something they're going to keep forever, and you know they can handle knives like this, I mean, dude, a Bark River is going to be around for a long time. It's beautiful, it's functional. I don't particularly love just the cheesy slip leather cases, but it reminds me a lot of a perfect version of the original Frost knife that my dad got me. It was like a $6 white elephant gift type of thing. And I'm sure he's told the story before. It came in a little sheath just like this, and I would walk everywhere with it. I'd have it on my belt, and Like, that was my go-to loadout, man. I was 7 years old. He did buy me a fanny pack, which one time I left in the woods when I was peeing, and then I could never find it, so I lost a bunch of cool stuff in there. Yeah, I'd always have it right here. No, it was on here. It was always on the right, because that's where Jedis would put their lightsabers. Again, I'm 7, so these things aren't super nerdy. You know, and I'd just walk around like that, and I'd usually tuck, like, my Empire Strikes Back t-shirt over it so you could just see a little bit of the holster. Dude, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I don't know why I had it. I was just a little kid like, yeah, dude, I'm ready for adventures. I can whittle some sticks. I don't know. Little kid stuff. I ended up getting it confiscated when I was 7 because there was a tear in our little mini trampoline. Don't know why we had a mini trampoline. I'm sure it was some exercise fad in like the early 90s. And there was a little tear in it that was like that big. And I was like, well, if it's already torn, we're probably going to throw it away. And so I cut the entire thing up. And then I upended it and then started drawing on the legs of it to turn it into a spaceship. So that was kind of cool. Here's one of the bigger ones, and I'm totally blanking on the name right now. This is a limited edition. Again, the quality on it's superb. Check that out. I'm giving you a pan picture right now so you can look at it. So I'm not just sitting here staring at the camera awkwardly, holding it in my hands. I'm kidding. I'm totally doing that. It's just beautiful. It feels great. I mean, if we are talking about things that feel like an extension of your hand, this gets a lot closer than some of the other stuff I've held today. I mean, how do you make a cadet an extension of your hand? I noticed that I was reading whatever magazine it was, and they just kept saying that, and I was like, what does that mean? And how can a shifter and a Camaro feel like that? Here is one of the holsters I've started using lately. This is a Universal Stealth, in theory, universal holster. They have a couple different sizes. I've been on the lookout for a good one that can really accept the gamut of guns that we have coming through the project, because I have a lot of access to them. You know, I can go, hey, can I bum this off you for a week? And then, you know, next time I see him, I give it to him. It's kind of cool. And a lot of the ones you see right here can actually work with it. Like a SIG P228, it just drops right in there. Don't worry, none of these are hot. See, look at that. Fits in pretty well, then it goes in there. I don't particularly love how these things are. These belt loops on it come down really short, so they don't fit over belts that are thicker than whatever garter size this is. I would prefer a thicker one. It should be like an inch at least, because that's most dude belts. 1.5 inches. You know, gun belts get pretty big, and these are really too small. And it's very resistant to coming up. So if you have a belt that fits this, rock on. It's going to be really good at retaining it on the, you know, the draw. But if you're on something bigger, then it can slide around a bit. I'm sure they've probably updated it by now. And I've never talked to the company at all, so this is just a, you know, I found it on the internet and I liked it, and it's worked pretty well. I have this one and then another one to carry the TRR-8. If you saw me at the store appearance in October, that's actually what I was using the whole time. I was carrying this one. TRR-8. Isn't that cool? I think I have a black holster for this one that's a little bit bigger though. But I mean, it works pretty well, yeah. The other one fits it all the way down. It covers the trigger. It doesn't have a retention strap, which does kind of drive me crazy sometimes. It may not be my total favorite, but when I'm just like going down to the Wawa for a pizza bites, I mean, it's kind of nice being able to carry just like a more fun gun. So as we're talking about the guns, let's bring this out. You'll actually see this is like a 6-piece rack for pistols. Super cool, man. As soon as I saw these, that I was visiting my buddy's safe. He's actually kind of lent us a lot of guns for project stuff, so you probably know where he's... I'm trying to figure a way to hang this so you don't feel like you're staring down the barrels. I mean, you can take it with you to the range if you have a couple options. I think that would be sweet. You fit it in your range bag, and then you can go boom, boom, boom. You have like your candidates lined up. Really cool. If you have room for your safe, it's also great there because it's a little more effective at keeping your space. It's like rubber coated, so it doesn't scratch your guns up. Also looks super rad. Like if you have a good secure safe area, then you can use it. It's not like something I would just leave a bunch of guns sitting out on my kitchen table for everything, but it definitely has a purpose. If you're curious about the guns in here, this is an old West German SIG P228. Super cool. This is a TRR-8 Smith & Wesson. It's not the R8. You can tell the R8 model's still pretty cool, but I don't think it has as much custom shop voodoo, and it has the integrated rail now. This one's taken off for carry. This is, I think we've shown it before, this is a laser accurate Smith & Wesson model 1905 hand ejector in 38. This one I found in a pawn shop coated in a good layer of old school grease and time. I don't know what it was corroded time or something. It was probably sitting in a leather holster forever because it did not look nearly this clean. I'm a wheel gun guy. I really like them, and I especially like that there are these links to history, you know, that have been around for so long and they're dwindling in supply. Like the TR-8's probably the last recent wheel gun that I look at and go, dude, I gotta have it, it's the coolest. I don't have it, I've stolen it from my dad, so thanks, Nothing Fancy, it's super rad. I'll get it back to you sometime. I mean, they're getting rarer, And for a while we had these nice slump prices where you could find like a sweet Model 19, which is probably in my top 3, if not my very favorite wheel gun of all time. When you slick them up, they're amazing. They're so easy to shoot. The 6-inch barrel, amazing. You know, the 4-inch, whatever, you can find those a lot easier. 6 is where it's at. I would say 6 with a round butt, because then you could carry it a little bit easier. It is tough to carry because you got a big ass front fixed sight on there, but so cool. And this gun is so cold right now. Again, it's like 20 degrees in here. I swear it's getting, I'm sure it's like 34 or 35 or something, but we don't have any, like, this is a garage, man. There's only so much. Literally, I'm boxed in by vehicles and garbage right now. So, dude, really cool. And it's super accurate. It has the old school, like, circular front sight. This one, I think, was made in about 1917. The serial number is in the 299,000s area, so around there. The other ones I've looked at online that have factory letters, and if you get the Smith & Wesson Collector's Guide, kind of placed in that area. I want to say it's around World War I, maybe 1917, 1918. Super cool, and I bought it for $260, I want to say. You know, it was in pretty rat condition. I probably paid a little too much for it, but it's awesome. You know, it's something I have forever. The firing pin on the hammer, super cool. GP100, you've seen that before. This is the one I coated. Love that thing. Really tough to carry. Probably not recommended at all. And there's something about the Ruger, like the GP100 and the SP101 that you see right here. For some reason, I always associate them with truckers. For some reason, it seems like all the guys, like all the truckers I met growing up and the ones I knew, they just liked revolvers for some reason. Maybe that's just like a shitty 70s movie thing that I can't get rid of. Here's my Taurus 1911. If you've been asking how that was, it is still doing great. Hasn't really changed that much. Yeah, still there, still awesome, still coated. I will say the Durcoat job we did on it has not held up super well. You can see a lot of the wear right there. You can see it on the tip there. Yeah, it just hasn't held up too healthily, but I like that. Getting some wear on them looks really cool, adds a lot of character. SP101 that I did. I do like the SP101. I carry it probably the most out of some of these smaller pistols. Dang, I left it out. I have a Model 36 that I got a while back. That was my present for finishing a semester, like, perfectly. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Dudes, I think we're coming to the end of it. If you're looking to get some sweet T&P gear, for once we actually have some stock in hand. I'm getting more larges of the shark shirts coming in, like in a week or so from this thing. I mean, we have the shark one, if you look here. Super cool. Dude, it's awesome, and I don't know if we'll be doing a ton of reorders on these. I like keeping them kind of small. And then I finally have this one, the Top Expert shirt. I'll be honest, I made it for me. I like the design. I wanted one that I could wear doing stuff like this and be like, hey, dude, look at that. And it's kind of cool being able to look at a t-shirt and go, dude, I made that. It's also super rad. Like, look at that. It's just cool. Really cool. So I only have like 100 of these that I got. I mean, they're not going to be around for long. I don't know if they're going to be reordered. We haven't really pushed any of this yet. We haven't done like the merch announcement things for a long time because most of the time I don't do huge quantities. If you look at the patches here, I've actually gotten enough of these ones. You can buy them in 2 packs of like sand or olive drab. Those are the owls. So that's like the paranoid vigilant owl. That's the angry one. Super cool. You can also tell I've taped them onto the garage door. That's still my favorite, the Top Expert thing. Awesome. That's the newest one, the Kill 'Em with Class. That's also a pretty limited release. I did the art for it forever ago, and I wanted that for my like revolver. I wanted something with a revolver on it so I could tell which one my wheel gun bag was. So when I go to the range, you know, it's easier to tell. Then I figured, put a little moto on it, and you know, it's kind of cool. I guess motto, not moto. Sorry. It's cold, man. Dude, I think that's everything. Let's wrap about the leather goods real quick. These that you see here, these are the Far Horizon trading post bags. This is a pretty cool business idea if you've ever like adventured around and gone to second and third world countries. You're like, dude, they make so much cool handcrafted stuff here. I ought to bring it to the States and resell it. Yeah, whoever does it, and I'm pretty sure it's a guy who's like traveled a bit, he, as far as I know, and this is just like from reading the About Us section, he goes around and talks to the people and says, hey man, I want to buy a bunch of your leather bags, and then they work out a whole thing. So he's, you know, supporting like local businesses in someone else's country. But they come out pretty cool. I've had this one for a couple years. I'm pretty sure I showed it last time, but this is kind of give you an update of how much wear there is. This is the original model, so it's just pretty much blank leather everywhere. They haven't really treated it too much. You treat it with use, and it's holding up really well. I've taken this a lot of different places. This is one of my major traveling bags. I will say the hardware they use to keep the strap on sucks. It doesn't really hold up too well when you do a lot of weight. This one, the older one, doesn't really do too hot because if you look, it's just a leather flap in here. So this is 2 layers of leather on this thing. Not too great. So if you get the newer one, this is the one that Last Suspect got last year, and his is worn in really well. They actually started doing this like lining, so now they have canvas on the inside. I do like that. It's a lot cooler. For some reason his got all dyed and weird, but it holds up so well. I just love leather, man. I'm a sucker for it. The more you use it, the better it looks, and it has so much character and durability. It's not, you know, when I've had cloth bags that I travel with in the past, you throw it down on the ground, if you're like on like asphalt or tarmac or something, it'll just get ripped up no matter how careful you are. Leather kind of avoids that. It holds up so well, and just look at how sweet that looks. If you're wondering, I know some of y'all don't really like the messenger bag thing. I'm never going to carry a purse. You have the 511 Rush. I showed that before. I haven't used it that much, even since the last time I showed it. I've kind of moved towards this. It's not as tactical. The Rush has a lot of great features in it. You can pack in a lot of stuff. Great laptop pocket in it. Just really great for cargo, but the Molly on the outside, no matter how many ways you try to camouflage it, at least at my school, screams like, "Return GI!" And I had 2 different guys tell me, like, "Oh, dude, what unit did you deploy with?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Your bag." I didn't know, man. Sorry, man. I'm a pussy. I just have a man purse with Molly on it. So, yeah, I've liked this one. It's worn in really well. If we're talking jackets, let me update you on the Roland Sans Ronin that I recommended a couple years ago. Dude, it's still going strong, and it looks better than ever. Look at that. And I mean, I'm not much of a fashionista, but when I was growing up, I used to always envision myself as an adult with some face hair, not necessarily this Jafar pattern that I know Jafar has a goatee, but I can't think of any other like bad guy. Look at that, it's like a bad guy. This right here, the like, I don't do any special shaving for this. I'm just naturally evil, I guess. I mean, it's worn in so well. I always picture myself just wearing like Indiana Jones style leathers that you have when you're 20, so when you're 50, it's just like, yeah, that's cool, it's the same thing. Can't necessarily do that with your members only jacket, as cool as it may be. So it's worn in really nice. If you look at like even the wrists here, it's so broken in. It's so comfortable. It's like wearing leather pajamas. If we're talking about the Roland Sans stuff, I can't really recommend it as riding gear. I did a review on the Ronin when I had a black one around to kind of compare it with. It's not great riding gear because it's not like race stitched from what I can tell, especially the Ronin with all these different elbow things. This is not necessarily your favorite crash zone. You can tell I've even had to reinforce it just from putting armor in it. The sizing is all over the effing map, man. Like this one, this is a large, and it fits more like a large to a medium. It's like a 42-inch chest. Works pretty well. I love that. This one, it's just awesome. But if you're trying to layer stuff under it, it's not going to be as consistent. And this is where I'm kind of embarrassed because I have a couple of these jackets running around. I think I have 3 right now. 3, 4. Honestly, if you're wondering why I'm buying so many of them, I love the leather quality on them. It's like this hand-waxed, just super quality stuff on it. If we're talking about a moto jacket, Roland Sans is not top tier at all. It's maybe bottom tier. It's kind of like casual enthusiast. I wouldn't really want to hit asphalt in this thing so much. If you get, and I actually did borrow this from somebody, because I knew I'd want to show it in comparison to the Ronin. This is their like lower price one. This one, MSRP, is about $650. This one's about $500, and that's like seizure pricing. Do not pay that much for it. It is not worth $500, not worth $650. What you do is you get them used. You let some jag buy it for $650 and go, yeah, man, I just got a BMW 9T. I'm going to drive it all the time. You know, he puts like 400 miles on it in 3 years, sells off all of his gear. I got this one used in 2012 when it was still pretty new and they were kind of harder to find. I think I paid $400 for it back then. That was a lot of money, but it's been all over the country with me. And, you know, it's just been awesome. Memories and wear and dates and experience. And it's cool having a connection to it. Like when you look at it, it reminds you of your youth, even though I'm still living it and adding more to it. It's cool, you know. Each one of these scratches comes from something. Each one of them has like some kind of story. It's awesome. So this is their cheaper one. It's called the Barfly. I'd say it's awesome. The only real problem I have with it is you don't have any collar on it, which I think looks a little weird. And I'll even show it to you here. And if you're bored with the jacket stuff, go ahead and fast forward. But I tried to find a lot of this info before I really got into buying them. But if you are wondering why I get a bunch of these leather jackets, it's because I'm a young single guy and I have disposable income and I want to get them now. Because once I settle down, it's going to be really hard to go, hey babe, I'm buying a leather jacket for myself this month. Since it seems like it's impossible to find a girl that doesn't want to be my mother. Pretty cool. Yeah, see how the collar thing, it's not there. It doesn't necessarily look bad, but if you're wearing like a collared shirt, like when I'm wearing ties and stuff, it just looks funky to me. It looks incomplete. Perforated, this is probably a stronger cut of leather, and this is back to Roland Sand's insane all over the map quality. Some of them are really cool. I mean, without a doubt, the leather is always going to be pretty good, but it's in the sewing and the consistency of sizing that it really gets all over the place. You're paying 650 bucks in theory for something that comes from India. You can tell I'm starting to shiver now because I just put this thing on. It's cold. The perforated leather on it's awesome. This one has fewer seams around there, so this is probably, you know, I had it on hand because I would want to crash in this one compared to the Ronin. Fewer things to go wrong. And I'll show you some other ones here in a sec. But you have the little change pocket, you have these zip up ones. They're just cool, man. And when you get them used for like around 200 bucks, you know, 300 is kind of pushing it, but 200 bucks for this jacket I think is a sweet deal if you can find them like that. Sales happen infrequently. Generally what you'll see is end of season happens, the jackets go from $650, which I don't know who's buying them at that price. That's insane. It'll go down to like $350, sometimes usually like $4, maybe $450. What you want to do is buy it from whoever bought it at that price, because then, you know, lose a little bit more. This one, I want to say my friend paid, oh crap, I forgot. I want to say he paid like $370 or something for it. Kind of expensive in my opinion, but if you're going to have it for the next 30 years, man, that's how I amortize these. I think, hey, you know, pretty much all this stuff. Like, you know, a TR8, that's an expensive pistol. If I were to buy it, I would think, well, I think it was like 1,400 bucks when it was out there. They're still tough to find. And I tried bidding on them a while back, just seeing if I could get one for like 700 or 800, because you know, I'm pretty comfortable investing the money in that because I can carry it around and sell it when I need it back, hopefully. But it is something that you use a lot, you know, and every day you carry it, you think, oh, cool, it cost me a cup of coffee today, you know. I prefer to spend money on the Halo things that I'm going to have, not Halo as in like Space Marine blowing up those weird jackal aliens. Halo is in like, that's your one nice quality thing in your lineup of things, and you get a lot of use out of it. You know, I want to have this jacket 10 years from now. I want to see more wear and scratches on it. I want to live with this stuff. I don't necessarily want to buy like my cheesy hoodie this week and then just, yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I remember when I had that, and always have it revolving. I don't know. That's just my weird way of thinking. I like having stuff for a long time and knowing that I paid for that quality and I got it out of it. Let me think. Okay, so that's the Barfly. Pretty cool. I'll give you a turnaround. I'm just kidding. You don't care about a turnaround. But it's a pretty good option if you're looking for stuff. It is a little more like cafe racery and empty. But the one I really do want to tell you about, it's their city jacket. And I'm sorry if I'm just shilling this stuff like shamelessly. This is the kind of stuff that I'd be interested in. This one is on sale right now at Motorcycle Superstore for $200. And I think it's a sweet deal, man. This is a more traditional cut on here. It has like the chest pockets, side pockets, you got some vents. You always have this front pocket on here, which I love. I love these front ones because you can put like gum or condoms or like your little cocaine snifter, whatever, like funky, that size type of thing. It's ostensibly for change when you're going through tolls. Either way, really cool. I usually just do like gum and chapstick in mine, and then you're always set. You put them in each jacket, you know, if you're lucky enough to do this. Again, young guy, single, disposable income, and I don't save any money at all. I mean, it's great. For 200 bucks, rock on. It's only going to get better. For some reason, this one has a different lining from that one. Really, just a weird setup. Top to bottom, man. Weird setup. It's always kind of bizarro. Like the sizing on this one is, all these are large, to be honest with you. But not all of them fit like larges. You know, this one's a little bit longer, a little bit wider. You still have these ones. And this one has like backwards zippers. All the other ones, the slot pocket goes down to close it and up to open it, I think. No, I guess this is the reverse. Whatever it is, look. That's open, toggles on the bottom. This one's open, toggles on the top. Same thing with here. They're all reversed for some reason. Can't figure that out. Again, super cool leather. This is like brand new, and I've worn it 2 weeks. For 200 bucks, I can't recommend it enough. Once this one drops, if you think it looks fly, I'd buy it before it's all out of stock. If he's going to have it for another 10 years or something, rock on. Because we got him one of the Ronins when they were on clearance. We paid $250 for his. It's like the ash-colored one you saw in that video. He's still using it, and it's still got wear, and it's getting used, man. I can't really say that about I keep going to shower radio, but like bathtub organizer or any of the weird like Bed Bath & Beyond crap you get around the holidays. You know, every day he puts it on, and he goes to work, and he goes to school, and it's just getting better. I think it's a good price for it. What else? Let me see. Oh, this light's pretty cool. This is on Costco's stuff, or in Costco's, I guess. They're like 35 bucks there, I want to say. Pretty awesome. As far as work lights go, I love these. They're really hardy in the front here. I'm sure this may be replaceable in theory, but the LEDs are a lot harder to shatter, so when like you drop it, you don't hear that, you know, the little like oven noise it makes when you know you just broke an expensive bulb that you're going to have to change. They're a lot hardier. They work okay as photo lights if you have like a booth, so if you're a photographer type thing, you can do that. I wish I had like a stand for them because that would be really nice. But it's cool. You can get like a phalanx of those for under $100. You know, if you buy 3 of them, then you can now light anything up like the sun. Pretty cool. While we're talking about just the things I left out because I didn't want to put everything on here, a little guillotine paper cutter, pretty cool. Powered USB hubs I really like because you can charge things from them sometimes. It's a lot more reliable when you're reading memory and stuff. And we have so many peripherals these days, it's pretty awesome. If you've seen my computer setup recently, you'll see that it's kind of a big one at this point. I have the LG, I think it's a UM65 29-inch monitor. The trick is you buy them broken, so you pay $50 for it, and then you go on Alibaba, you find out the number for the LCD, and send out a parts request, buy the LCD. Usually it'll be like $50 to $80. You can usually find it around there. It's harder because you have to like talk to the supplier and go, hey, I just want to buy one. And they're like, no, you want to buy 1,000. You're like, nope, just want to buy one, dude. So you can get that, then you just take it apart, put it back together. Awesome. My whole monitor setup cost me like $200, and you know, they're like $500 monitors. Pretty sweet setup. iPod Classics have been ended, so start snatching those mofos up now, because the FiO one is out and it doesn't look like it's as slim or compact. It may be as good. iTunes is all dicked right now. They're trying to push you into their streaming service. Who knows what's going on. I'm trying out some of the alternatives. Maybe I'll tell you about that some other time, because I'd be really interested to see if anyway. Radar. Amazon, their basics line, it has a lot of cool stuff. The pricing on it's okay. It's pretty good for what you get, but they have a really thick audio patch cable that's male to male end. It's really thick and fairly heavy for what it is, but if you're in like an in-place thing, it does work pretty well, and it's pretty hardy. I don't know. I've been using one for about 2 years now. It's replaced 2 of the cheesier Sena coiled ones. If you're using the new Sena S20, it works pretty awesome. I made the upgrade, sold my old one. It's fly, man. It does constant talking, and it was kind of weird because Nothing Fancy heard me doing my Cosby imitation as we're riding, because now instead of having to do and then it initiates the like call, so you're constantly calling each other and it's beeping, it just like pipes whatever you're saying over to them. So we're just driving around, and I had no idea at first because it doesn't really give you the feedback now. It's too nice. I was just going, zip zap doop, I don't know about that joke. Whatever the hell I was doing. I was a horrible Cosby impression. It's just bad. I'm not good at it. And he heard the entire thing, and finally after like 5 minutes of it, he's like, what are you talking about? So that was kind of awkward. Really cool system though. The only problem is now it goes to a smaller size headphone jack. So if you have like a male-to-male connector that you're going from your music device to your headset, you have to get a little adapter. You can get a 3-pack around for like $6 or something. Just get those, keep using your same audio setup. It's a really cool thing though. You know, in retrospect, I really should have just turned on the Zippo hand warmer and just had that for a while, but that would have been nice. Dude, that's 2015's gift guide. If you're looking for maybe those last minute things, if you're looking for something to pad your account out and, you know, really get some of that free shipping action, you got some good options there. I will say, if you've noticed in the project recently, we've been doing the Amazon links. It's not like it's a huge deal if you shop there or not. It's cool when you do, because we get a little kickback from it. If not, find them, dude. For a lot of these, I'm going to give you the links of different places if I can. I don't know about giving you, like, the eBay links will be hard because I think it has my ID into it embedded, and I don't really care enough to look into it. So check that out on your own. Yeah, when I can, I try to find the best price. I like, you know, when it's convenient, so you can go in there and check it out. Let me see. If you have ordered any knives from us lately, this is my Resilience that I did, the Cerakoted one. If you've ordered one or bought one from me and you haven't gotten it yet, let me know, because I have like 3 left over that are kind of unclaimed. I found one and the guy emailed me yesterday. I've been sending it out trying to bug you, so if you haven't heard from it, then you must not have given me a good email or something, or check your spam filter, because he was like, hey, I haven't seen it, and he had ordered it off the store. I changed shipping systems around October. It was like mid-October when I did it. Not a great time because a couple things fell through the cracks. So if you're wondering where it went, it might be there. And I've checked the ship logs. I've done everything I can to make sure I'm getting them to the right people. But I have a couple left over, especially if you were at the place there. I'm thinking I had, because I had everyone write down the registry. I didn't make that many of them. But I think someone at some point tried to write something on it and like took it or something, because I've been looking. So sorry if it's taken forever. The White Tenacious, the Tuxedo one, It's pretty much done. I didn't make too many to begin with, and I haven't done too many since, and it's super cool, man. It's really cool. You won't see those for much longer. I likely won't be doing another one for a long time. It was like a special in-person event thing. I mean, it's pretty rad, man. So, yeah, pretty good deal. Also, if you order stuff on our merch site, you may see one of these. Look at how cool that is. It's a redux of our old black agency patch, the 3-letter one. Pretty cool. I haven't put it up for sale yet because I've been throwing it in orders where people order a couple things. And I'm like, hey, let's give you some freebies. So I'll normally do that. I won't always, so don't like expect it and hold me to it, but I'll probably do it. Name tapes are back in stock too. We have like the Suck Less and Sheepdog, so if you're doing that, pretty cool. That's just gold. Anyways, I'm Tacticaldoodle. I'll see you around. And I'm tempted to show you the last present that I got. Well, I mean, it's a present that I got for myself. And it's, I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not great with money. I know I should be. I mean, if you want to look at my bills, I don't spend much on food, even though I got this like beer gut and like A-cups that would tell you that I do have a lot of food. I mean, last things I bought in the grocery store were like the frozen bags of brown rice and carrots. So, I mean, I'm getting by. So at least I save money on the food. I like spending money on stuff that I'll have for a long time. But I'm looking at it right now. I got another bike. It's a classic, and I'm not going to show you just yet. It needs to be done. So I'm working on it, trying to bring it back to life. So I'll see you all around. I think we might be doing another shoot sometime soon. Anyways, see you guys.